This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America 4 this Thursday morning. I'm Seth Merrill. Thanks for joining us here. A little later on, regular Thursday visit from John DeSilva, racingwithbruno.com. We'll take a look. We're going to go back and recap the Winkfield from Monday down at Aqueduct, the holiday card. A hot air skier won that one, a 3-year-old race, one of the slew of interesting 3-year-old races from this past holiday weekend. We'll get John's thoughts on that one. We'll also look forward to this coming Saturday at Aqueduct and the affectionately, and we will, the ladies handicap. We have a bunch of horses that are coming out of the affectionately and jumping into that one, so we'll preview Saturday's ladies. We'll also get some thoughts Aqueduct for this afternoon. Also a regular Thursday visit, Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. We'll get some of his thoughts on this afternoon, and also preview, they have another great state. Boy, this winter, it's, I don't know that it's every other week, it's about every third week. They put together a really nice Saturday card of stakes races at Laurel. So we'll talk to Dave about the preview Saturday stakes races, as well as, again, getting some thoughts for racing there this afternoon. And then joining us now in our rotation on Thursdays will be Frank Miramati and Nancy Uri-Holthus, who is the paddock commentator down there at Oaklawn. And today it will be Nancy in the mix. So we'll get some thoughts from her on Oaklawn for this afternoon, but also we'll do a review and preview with her, looking back to Monday's Smarty Jones and looking forward to Saturday's American Beauty down there. So plenty of action on this Thursday edition of Racing Across America. Do want to remind you of some of the events coming up here at Capital OTB. Sunday is going to be the Sunday Syndicate, where folks pool their money together. There is an entry fee of $25 per person. And today is the last day to sign up, so you can still have a shot to sign up. And I don't think it's full. I'm not positive about that. But regardless, today is the last day to sign up. You have until 4 p.m. Folks will be pooling the money together and playing the syndicate this Sunday, January 26th. So again, you can find out more about that on capitalotb.com. But the syndicate this Sunday, last day to sign up today at 4 p.m. Do want to keep reminding you that all January and February month-long Mondays here at the Clubhouse Racebook, there will be a knockout challenge, $100 contest based on Aqueduct Racing, which now they've fired up their Mondays for the winter season. So Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany, knockout challenge every Monday, January and February. And then do want to remind you, tomorrow, right here, January 24th, Friday, another happy hour bankroll with Brian Nadeau, who will be in here in the afternoon starting at 2:30. He'll go from 2:30 till about 6:30 with his $500 bankroll. You get a chance to come in, enter your name, and perhaps be randomly selected. 25 people will be chosen to participate. You can start entering 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And again, 25 folks will participate. Brian was in here, Brian Nadeau, of course, horseplayernow.com, and he's a regular on this program as well. But he was in here probably about a month ago doing another Friday bankroll, doubled his money. So pop on down. And, you can participate in the bankroll and have some fun there, but as the afternoon progresses, you get to pick Brian's brain as well and see what he's playing. Maybe he'll toss you out some good ideas that you can play on your own tickets as well. So that should be fun. That's tomorrow afternoon. Again, if you want to sign up to get a chance to be in the drawing, to be a participant, 11 to 2 p.m., you can put your name in, and then things will kick off at 2:30. So the live happy hour bankroll right here at Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And I want to give you another reminder that if you're a fan of the amateur boxing we've been doing here monthly for past 4 months or so, this month's was supposed to be held this past Monday, but it was moved. It's still coming up. You haven't missed it. It's this coming Tuesday down here, Tuesday, January 28th. Here at the Clubhouse Racebook. So the amateur boxing still to come for this month. News from the past day or so. Frankie Dettori, who went to the sidelines, the top European jockey, and certainly we're familiar with him over here from his visits over here for various races. Particularly, he's had some Breeders' Cup victories, the Flying Dismount of Frankie Dettori. But he went to the sidelines back in October when he had a pre-race fall and broken ankle, and it was really unfortunate because it was right before he was going to go over to France and ride Trev in the Arc. And the Arc and Trev's victory, one of the highlights of the racing calendar from 2013. Frankie Dettori breaking his ankle, missed that. So you know he had to be anxious for the return. He did so yesterday over in England at Lingfield. I believe overall he had 3 rides, but his first 2 rides, 2 winners. So Frankie Dettori gets back on the horse and gets it done, winning with his first 2 rides at Lingfield yesterday after being on the layoff since the broken ankle in October. Also yesterday in Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Gaming Commission had a meeting, and Mohegan Sun came in and gave a final presentation of their proposed casino that would partner with Suffolk Downs. You can read a little bit more about that in the Blood Horse, and I have it linked over on Equidaily as well. But the article essentially gives the feeling of really what we know, and we're kind of watching this Massachusetts situation with intent and trepidation because there is the Wynn Resorts proposal out there too. And these are competing proposals, and if Wynn Resorts wins the casino, that leaves Suffolk on the outside looking in. If Mohegan Sun wins, they're partnered up with Suffolk, and Suffolk has already committed, if they get the casino on their land, they are now committed to racing, and I think they committed to at least 10 years of racing, and you would have to think they would just be on better financial footing, and so the future would look decent for Suffolk Downs at that point. But they've essentially stated in the article that if they don't get the casino, things are looking kind of grim for Suffolk Downs. So again, the Massachusetts Gaming Commission met yesterday. Mohegan Sun made a proposal looking at $1 billion project on part of that Suffolk Downs property. And it'd be interesting to see if it does go through, how Suffolk will reconfigure, because part of the property, if you haven't been following that story, Suffolk's property is actually in 2 different municipalities. And one of the municipalities voted against a casino, the other one voted for. So they're kind of on one side of their property that is in, the line goes down part of their property, one municipality than the other. So they're moving the casino over, but it's also where their barn area is. So they would lose their barns with this casino project. And so now that's going to mean they would have to reconfigure what they have and either build some new barns in a different way and kind of figure out how to do that, or move the barns off-site and ship horses in. So the whole thing is going to be kind of interesting to follow and see how it shakes out, because again, it's almost a life and death kind of thing for Massachusetts racing. Certainly the fair circuit disappeared years ago. We still have Suffolk Downs, but the casino, the future kind of hinges on this casino. And again, you can read more of that Blood Horse article. Go to the Blood Horse or pop over to Equidaily, have it linked over there. Eric Mitchell wrote a commentary in the Blood Horse. Really simple idea and a small idea in the horse racing world, but I thought it was a pretty good idea. Eric Mitchell kind of talks about the Eclipse Awards from last Saturday night, watching some of the enthusiastic owners who got up there and accepted their trophies, their Eclipse trophies for their horses. And Eric makes the point, the owners put a lot of equity into this game, and without their investment, the game doesn't go. Most of them probably are losing money, but they get up there and they're very enthusiastic. They're great salesmen for the game. Owners got up on Saturday night and talked about, having that big horse and how much fun it was, but also just getting involved in the game, even with smaller horses, was a lot of fun. And so again, the owners are great ambassadors. But if you're a guy who gets nominated for an Eclipse and doesn't get one, you kind of walk away empty-handed. And as I say, this is a small, but I think a pretty good idea that Eric Mitchell has. The Eclipse people should come up with some kind of medal that is awarded to the nominees, so that everybody walks away. So every owner now has a tangible trophy, in quotes, to take home and frame, put on the mantelpiece, whatever. But again, I think it just gives a little more impetus to stay in the game and be a better ambassador, continue to be a good ambassador, and have some tangible evidence of the very good horse you had. I think it's a good point because essentially you get nominated for an Eclipse. That means you had a pretty good horse. But if you don't get the trophy, you'll walk away essentially empty-handed. So I think it's, as I say, a small idea as involved with the industry as a whole. But I thought it was kind of a fun idea, Eclipse nominees, have some kind of significant little medallion minted that they could hand out to the nominees. Coming up on Sunday, I'll just tout you to look it up. I don't know whether there's going to be some place to watch this live. They're potentially on the internet. You may be able to find someplace. Certainly, though, shortly thereafter, YouTube will probably pick it up. The Prix d'Amérique, the richest harness horse race in the world over in France, that will be held Sunday. Field of 21. If you've never seen it before, go over to YouTube and pull it up from previous years. It is an event, a lot of pomp and circumstance, and if for a harness race, there's 20 or more horses. It's a cavalry charge at the beginning of the race. A lot of fun to watch, and as I say, you can go to YouTube and watch previous years of this. Again, the Prix d'Amérique over in France. It's going to be held Sunday. 21 horses entered for this year. A very, very rich trotting race, and again, I'll tell you to look around. Maybe you can find it live on Sunday, a little later on Sunday, certainly on YouTube, and we'll probably pull up some of it sometime next week on Racing Across America, but just want to alert you that is coming up this weekend. All eyes on Southern California tomorrow, as Jerry Hollendorfer has noted, the Shared Belief will get out for a work tomorrow. That was kind of a situation we were keeping our eyes on, because Shared Belief, a minor hoof issue, put this horse off of some works earlier. And then they missed a work, and they were looking for Wednesday or Thursday, I thought. So now this work has even been pushed back just a little bit more. So it's going to be interesting to watch, see if Shared Belief comes back. All of that said, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday with Jeremy Plonk, you get a horse, and that date on the calendar for the Kentucky Derby is fixed. So it's when you get a ding on the Derby trail, it's a little bit dicey. Now, this is fairly early, and I assume they can juggle up a schedule if they have to or whatnot, and they should be fine. But it's questionable when a horse gets a little ding and misses some works and whatnot. All of that said, Hollendorfer, in the Blood Horse article covering this potential workout tomorrow, seemed a little peeved that folks were kind of doing the kind of speculation that I've been doing of, gee, the horses missed some workouts. Will this mean missing the upcoming Bob Lewis, which they're looking at on February 8th? And Hollendorfer is saying, no. This is a minor ding. Stop with the speculation. We're okay. And so we'll keep our eyes on the workout tomorrow. I mean, obviously, this is kind of the leader in the clubhouse is Shared Belief, having won the 2-year-old Eclipse. So this is an important horse. And again, a little bit of a ding is always a question mark. So tomorrow out in Southern California, Shared Belief scheduled for a workout. We'll keep our eyes on that and see if things go off as planned. All right, we will take our first break of the hour. When we come back, as noted, John DeSilva of RacingWithBruno.com. Take a look at some of the Aqueduct action. A little later, Dave Rodman from Laurel. Later than that, Nancy Yuri Holthus, who will be giving us some thoughts on Oaklawn Park. All of that when Racing Across America continues.
I'm Brian Nadeau, inviting you to join me Friday, January 24th at the Clubhouse Racebook. I'll be handicapping the day's races live and managing a $500 bankroll for 25 lucky patrons. We'll see you then. Let's win together.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB Television Network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of ranch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and EasyBet locations can be found online at CapitalOTB.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
Wagering at CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Capital Bet TV, the fastest and easiest online wagering experience where you can monitor 5 different tracks simultaneously. 2. Capital Bet Express. Its straightforward program layout and interactive handicapping information lets you build your wager quickly and efficiently. And 3. Capital Bet Pro, designed especially for the professional horse player. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
I'm Anthony Mormino. Join me weekdays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the day in racing. That's the Handicappers Report, weekdays at 9, only on the OTB TV network.
Welcome back to Racing Across America for this Thursday morning. Thursday morning means a visit with John DeSilva from RacingWithBruno.com. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How's everything?
Well, cold, and I'm wondering what are things like down in the New York area. We lucked out. We completely missed the snow. We have had the Arctic temperatures here in upstate, but we missed the snow. Give us a little update on what things were like and what things will be like this afternoon down in New York.
Well, we definitely got the snow, and we definitely felt it, and we're definitely going to feel it still. We're talking about maybe a high of 21, but the wind chill could be anywhere from -5 to 5.
Ooh.
So you're going to see lots of snow on the main track, and the glare may not be so great. But at least the track should be clear, and probably be some moisture in it right now, I would say.
Yeah, all right. We'll keep our eyes. I think everybody in the Northeast, Laurel canceled yesterday, but we got Dave Rodman coming up next. I think everybody's going to be in the same situation here in the Northeast for at least a couple more days as this cold front is still going to hang around at least until the weekend. So we'll keep our eyes on things as we move forward. Let's go back.
A place like Parks, who might be running for 2 weeks like they did last time.
Yeah, that was brutal. And I said they came out with those December handle numbers, which the national handle numbers for the year, there was an incremental move forward. But it would have been better, but December took a 10% hit as compared to 2012. And I think that 10 days at Parks had to be a pretty significant player in that.
I would say so. I mean, that is the one track which I would not understand. They have all this money from the slots. They own the slots, unlike New York where they have to compete against each other. All these years they've had trouble with that racetrack. Why haven't they put money to improving that track surface?
And they have a turf course there that it seems like they barely use. So I'm assuming they could probably do a little work on that as well.
And from what I've been hearing, they may not be used as much this year, as well as some of the rumors do come true about taking a break over the summer.
Jeez, that's it. Yeah. And again, we've seen that at a few of these slots facilities where you just wonder, the money. I look up at Finger Lakes, speaking of grass racing, and I scratch my head why they don't have a grass course at this point. Because all they have to do is look down at Tampa and see they're probably on a similar level. Or I think Tampa, because of the turf course, has kind of kicked up their reputation. But that's the point. I think Finger Lakes could look at Tampa and say, boy, summertime racing, have some grass racing up there at Finger Lakes, I think that'd be great. But again, we've seen that at a few of these facilities with the slots money. All right, John, let's go back to Monday at Aqueduct. Talked a little bit this week. It was a really nice holiday weekend as far as the 3-year-olds, both from maiden special races to allowance company to stakes races across the country that attracted some attention and have some horses that'll be interesting to follow as we move forward in the Triple Crown Trail. Monday at Aqueduct was the Jimmy Winkfield. It was 3-year-olds. I don't know whether these guys will stretch out or not. This was only a 6-furlong race, but I thought Hot Air Skier was going to be very interesting going into the Jimmy Winkfield. We're going to watch the stretch run here, and sure enough, it was Hot Air Skier getting it done. Coming up from a nice win down at Laurel for Ben Perkins, we're going to look at the stretch run and see number 6, Hot Air Skier, get it done by half a length over Oliver Zip. Now, I will say, at about this point, we're thinking, oh, this horse is going to run away with this. Well, he does get a little erratic, so you don't give him points maybe for the last 16th of a mile, but still, now 2 for 3 in the career, and adds the Jimmy Winkfield little stakes race to his resume.
Well, you have to wonder how much the start affected him as well, because you were talking about a bad start. Nobody broke well in that race. I mean, it was a situation where you just had to hope that these horses come out of it okay, and maybe what happened early could have affected him at the end. But, hey, let's give New Farm credit. They bred this horse. They owned this horse. Perkins, known as a great sprinting trainer, and was able to get this horse ready to win as the second choice.
Yeah, and as I say, coming in, I thought he was kind of interesting, and the price, a $7.50 price, I thought was pretty generous too. So again, I'm not sure, this is a 6-furlong race. 3-year-olds at this time of year, as they keep winning, you expect them to somewhere maybe at least test the water. So maybe we'll get a shot to see this horse stretch out to, a mile or a mile and 16th, a 2-turn race, something like that maybe. And as I say, just see what the ceiling is. But these were just horses who, at the very least, in the 3-year-old sprint division later on could be a little bit interesting. All right, let's take a look at some of the racing for this afternoon. You've got some ideas for us that'll kick off in race number 2 today down at Aqueduct. Conditional claimer, 16 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime. They're going 6 furlongs. Your thoughts on race number 2?
Well, as you know, everybody is jumping on the Jacobson bandwagon right now, whether it's Jacobson's directly owned or partially owned, drawing away or whatever. So, Chief Scout is going to go off the favorite. So I'm going to go against it with number 7, Stonehenge. Now, this is a horse who had trouble in the career debut coming out of the gate, but then came off the pace to break its maiden first time out, and then last time out showed improved speed and then tired. Montanez keeps the mount, drops slightly in class here, and I think after that last race, Montanez probably learned that this is a horse who probably needs to be a little bit further off the pace to make one run, so hopefully he used that last race, learns from that effort, and gets Stonehenge to do that.
Yeah, lightly raced, and I always say I think some horses take 1-2 starts maybe at a condition to kind of figure it out. And so this horse got a little education against limited winners last time, and as you say, now gets even a little bit of an additional class relief. So I think Stonehenge is kind of interesting as well. All right, let's take a look out at race number 7 this afternoon. 7th race is a state-bred claimer, 20 tags for these New York-bred 4-year-olds and up. They'll go 3/4 of a mile.
I mean, call me crazy trying to go against Jacobson here, but of course you got Dr. Disco has to run since May, so you want to try to beat them off the layoff. So I'm going to go with number 7, William Thomas. This is a horse who returned from Finger Lakes, ran 3rd in the state-bred optional 14, was claimed off that effort by Gary Contessa. Now he puts Wilmer Garcia on, goes to a state-bred claiming 20, which even though it's going up in price, it's actually class relief here. And I think William Thomas at 6-1 could be nice little value.
All right, and Jeff Carl liked that horse a little bit too on the Handicappers Report earlier. Finally, 8th race this afternoon, another allowance event for state breds. Non-winners are one other than. These are 4-year-olds and up. They're going to go the 2-turn mile.
If you watched Horse Players on Tuesday, you saw one of the stars of the show, Prohibition. This is the horse who won the last race that they showed at Aqueduct. Of course, I was in the paddock, and you actually got to see my balding head twice during this scene with Prohibition, because I was there with Bruno, who owned the favorite in the race. Unfortunately, got beat that day, but Prohibition won that race. Now, this is a horse now trained by Cat Lynch, a very underrated trainer at Parks. Has won 2 in a row, ships here to New York to return against state bred. And even though it's 2-1, because it's Parks connections, I can see this horse maybe going up slightly in price.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. It just anytime you get a horse that comes in from a different circuit, I think the bettors, they're familiar with the circuit just don't give it maybe sometimes the respect it deserves. John, you mentioned horse players. Before we move on and look at the weekend, I just wanted to maybe pick your brain. I missed it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm hoping to pull it up. They're talking, the Esquire Network website says they put up some of their programming the day after. I checked yesterday. Hasn't come up yet, but I'm kind of waiting. But what were your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I was part of the first show because I was there on the aqueduct with the Rotundo, sitting at the table, and with Bruno. But what I could say is there are some good parts, but there's some bad parts. One thing I didn't like is getting the Trevor Deadman imitator to call the Santa Anita races from the Breeders' Cup that day. That wasn't good. Some of the things, like they had groupies all listed at 20 to 1 in the Cigar Mile. Not good. They had them breaking from the grandstand to the Cigar Mile. Not good. Things like that are going to turn off the racing fan. The average fan doesn't know this stuff, but the racing fan will not be happy. And I do know that the focus of the show changed after filming started. So I want to give it a couple more shows to see how much the focus is going to change before I do a complete opinion on it. But you can't be making these little mistakes because that's going to drive people crazy.
Yeah, and I said earlier this week before the show was on, I said to people, give it 2 or 3, because I think in the opening episode, maybe the opening couple, you're getting introduced to the characters, and I think it'll get streamlined and be a little more effective maybe as we get to know people, and you don't have to give the backstories. You can get right into the action. So we'll see about that. But I've read it a couple of times now, the 20 to 1 price on Groupie Doll, who was actually the favorite. I don't think you can add drama in that fashion. I did not hear about the Cigar Mile, them putting it on the front side to start of the race. That's a little bit of a head scratcher. That doesn't bother me that much, though, as much as the odds thing. But I'll also ask, I heard similar comments. It was Jeremy Plonk yesterday who talked about the Denman impersonator and that being kind of a bother. And I related, this is the same company that did the Jockey Show on Animal Planet, and they did the same thing for that. They had faked or recreated race calls. Was it only the Denman call, though? Did you hear the actual announcer at other racetracks?
Well, they did Aqueduct, and so we did get Durkin. And what I've been told is the rest of the series, you will get the actual race call. So it's going to be pretty good. You're not going to have problems like that anymore. Just Christian Helmers, the man who was out in California for the Breeders' Cup Challenge, he's the one who's going to be doing a lot of the talk that he will aggravate people with his headband, with his new age philosophies, and later on in the series when he does his Bieber imitation and rents the boat and models to hang out with in Florida, that's not going to endear himself to people.
Yeah, and I have heard, that somebody speculated in one of the reviews that, you have to have a villain, and that the reality show part of it is going to play into it for better or worse, and so we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it plays out, but so far I'm looking forward to picking up the first episode myself. And John, before we move on and look at the ladies' handicap on the weekend, I also did want to get some comments on the passing of Tom Voss. I said earlier, for folks of us up at Saratoga, certainly hit the radar because he was a top-notch guy on the steeplechase side, and up here at Saratoga. Folks, in recent years, if you just got into the game, you think there's that limited number of steeplechase races. Back in the day, there was more steeplechase races, so guys like Tom Voss certainly were more of a focus, but he had some nice horses, obviously, on the flat side, and I said up here at Saratoga, it seemed like every year he'd have at least 1 or 2 who would come over from the jump side to the flat side and kind of surprise things at a decent price, and that's what I remember about him. But what are your thoughts on Tom Voss?
Well, people go out there and talk about Jonathan Shepard up at Saratoga, but hey, Tom Voss is just as good. Who can forget what he did with John's Call?
Yeah.
I mean, just to get that horse to win a Grade 1 at such an advanced age, the way he did, and he would always go out there and be one of the top steeplechase trainers. I mean, the man was a good family man. He was always out there. He was a great horseman, and this is something that shocked me when I heard about it. He's definitely going to be missed.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, let's wrap up by taking a look at the feature on Saturday at Aqueduct, the ladies' handicap. This is a $100,000 stakes race, 4 fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going a mile and an eighth. And John, as we talk about this, I pulled up the Affectionately, and we're going to watch Teen Pauline. 3 of the horses coming out of that Affectionately, top 3 finishers, Teen Pauline, Centering, and Royal Lahana, wind up following up in the ladies handicap. Short field on Saturday of only 5. Bettine Pauline and the other two I mentioned, kind of interesting. And Frenzy Feeling, who's lightly raced from Rudy Rodriguez, also attracts a little bit of interest for me. But again, we're going to watch the affectionately the stretch run. Teen Pauline is going to get it done here as the number 5 horse. And I'm wondering if that affectionately in career start number 9 may have finally got Teen Pauline to the point where she's showing the talent that was kind of signaled in the early portion of the career.
I think they finally figured out what Teen Pauline wanted to be, which is she needed to be on the lead, going 2 turns. Because if you look at her races, she's always been right there, but she's always been very disappointing. But when she wins, she's always on or really close to the lead here. I mean, last time out, she was able to do relaxed fractions, and the way I'm looking at it here, the same thing is going to happen, because who's going to run with Teen Pauline? I mean, you got the top 3 for the affection lead with only 2 strangers, and the only horse that I think has a shot to put any pressure on her is going to be Ferenz Feeling, because I don't think you're going to see Royal Lahaina put pressure on the stablemate here. So I think that if Ferenz Feeling doesn't push for the lead, it's going to be Teen Pauline winning it easy, even though I do find it interesting that Rudy is going to Manny Franco to ride in the stakes here instead of one of the more experienced jockeys, or maybe he wants a hungry jock who he might tell him, hey, put pressure. You want to win this race, you have to push.
Yeah, and the last time out, he used Victor Carrasco in a stakes race down in Laurel, so maybe he was using the same strategy down there, and it was successful down there, so we'll see what happens on Saturday at Aqueduct. But again, short field, but it looks like a fun addition, and it'll be interesting to see if, as I hypothesized, maybe Teen Pauline is finally showing the talent that she gave hints at earlier in the career. All right, John, as always, we appreciate the visit on Thursday. You can find John's selections and thoughts every racing day at racingwithbruno.com. John, thanks for the visit. We'll talk to you next week.
Stay warm. Talk to you then.
Thanks a lot. John DeSilva from racingwithbruno.com. We'll take our next break. When we come back, Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. Stay tuned.
I'm Brian Nadeau, inviting you to join me Friday, January 24th at the Clubhouse Racebook. I'll be handicapping the day's races live and managing a $500 bankroll for 25 lucky patrons. We'll see you then. Let's win together.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Fascinated by the world of horse racing? Interested in honing your handicapping skills? Class is in session. Night school, Monday nights. Easy to access online. It's free, interactive, and informative for the casual and serious race fan. Horse Player Now Buzz. Live horses to watch, emailed to you daily. Our eyes, your prize. Night School in the Buzz. Visit horseplayernow.com for details.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today. Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Happy to be joined now by Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. Laurel, like a couple other tracks yesterday, affected by the weather, canceled. But Dave, I understand you got a makeup day scheduled.
Yeah, well, we had the makeup day scheduled for the day that we lost a few weeks ago. I don't know what they're going to do about this yesterday's.
According to the website this morning, February 14th for yesterday. Friday the 14th.
Oh, that's actually for a day that was canceled a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, it said on the website. Oh, you're right. It said on the website January 11th. You're right. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So February 14th, Friday, will run in makeup of a previously canceled day. Yesterday canceled, of course, because of the weather. I don't know what they're going to do with that, if they're going to plan a makeup day or just add some races somewhere along the line.
And
so we are.
I was going to ask. It sounds like you anticipated it. What's the weather today?
Well, clear. I just heard there's maybe a chance of some snow showers this afternoon. Who knows?
Nice.
Coating to an inch, but right now, not really a cloud in the sky. So who knows? It's been crazy weather everywhere.
I got a nice picture. Somebody posted on Twitter yesterday, and I linked on Equidaily a picture of the Laurel Racetrack yesterday morning, snow covered, and it looked like the sun was actually out in the morning, but it just had the look of being very, very cold.
Yes, it was. I think that was, if it's the right one, Jimmy McHugh's picture from that turn looking to the building.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, that was a real nice shot. Kind of a different perspective, too, in looking at the building. Yeah, it was just bitter cold, and I think we'll make it through the day. Just going to have real short post parades here, so don't have too many moments to inspect your horses as you may like to. And we'll see the track played very fair here on Saturday, our last racing day. We've had several speed days, as we mentioned last week, in the beginning of the month. So again, we'll see how the track plays out. We've had some varying biases here, which we usually don't have. Perhaps, I think, mostly in part due to the very cold weather and snow, sleet, rain, etc.
All right, let's get into the racing for this afternoon, and then after that, we'll take a look at some of the stakes action you have on Saturday. Nice card coming up on the weekend. First, we'll take a look at the fourth today at Laurel. Maiden Claimer, 35 to 40,000, 6 furlongs a trip. Looks like a fun little race. I'll be interested to see which direction you went in race 4.
Okay. Well, Trombetta's got 2 runners in here. A first-time starter and a filly who was unlucky as a beaten favorite last time out. I'm going to go with a first-timer here from Trombetta. It's a big brown filly whose dam was 3 for 13 sprinting, exceptional. And if you look at the pattern of workouts for this filly at Fair Hill, she has worked identical times with a colt that is not yet started called Let's Get It Going, who's owned by, I think, one of Trombetta's other owners. He's got some horses for Live Oak. I believe it's Live Oak Plantation. Nonetheless, they've worked pretty much, together apparently. I mean, every work. So, and this filly has a sprint pedigree, and I like the fact that Trevor McCarthy is riding for Trombetta here. They're a deadly combo, 27% winners together. She's a half-sister, Miss Emelina, for Trombetta, to Omniscient, who won $341,000, and Champagne Rhythm, who won $141,000. And so she's got some pedigree to run. Trombetta has been a bit cold, I guess, during the month of November, but December started to heat up a little bit here toward the end of January, late December to early January. The barn's been picking up the tempo again. This filly might be okay.
Yeah, and number 6, Miss Emelina. I love Big Brown's first time out of the box, so I'd take a look at that one as well.
Well, there's one other filly I do want to mention in the race for the people who like to play exactas, and that's Avelaños. That is a Warpath filly who's been out twice. Both were maiden claiming 25, 35. Now she's stepping to 40 today. And she bucked a really strong speed bias last time out here, January 4th. It's one of the speed days we had here at Laurel Park. And she finished off okay and galloped out okay with a rally down inside. And this is the first time beyond 5.5, adding another 16. She was a good 4th with a good gallop out 2 to a nice filly named Jump 2, who came back to run second in the Marshua Stakes to that filly Gracer. So this is kind of a sneaky filly here, Avelaños. So The 6, Miss Emelina, the 3, Avalanius, the 2 fillies will concentrate on.
Sounds good. The morning line gives a little value there, too. Fifth race this afternoon, a conditional claimer, 4,500, 5 tags, non-winners of 2 lifetime. In race number 5, they'll go 7 furlongs.
So I only have early scratches, and so far, none of the real speeds have scratched out of here, being perhaps Tommy's Girl, Hope and Mercy from the U. McMahon barn. It looks like Kawasi Girl, number 3, is going to get the perfect setup here. Third off the claim for King Leatherbury. Maybe not the filly they thought she was, but he's adding blinkers on here for the first time, and she is a closing-type filly who comes out of a race that, produced an oddball long-shot winner, Icelandic Blast, who was a huge price in a 6-horse field that day. But Exhilarate, the pacemaking filly that day, who was part to chase the pace and prompted, came back to win. The trend of the track was kind of against Kawasi Girl, I thought, and with the blinkers on.
All right, and the blinkers on with limited stats, working pretty well for Mr. Leatherbury. He's 2 for 2 according to the Racing Form stats. And next up, we'll go out to race number 9 this afternoon at Laurel Park. Again, we're down at the lower level of the claiming ranks. A B condition claimer, 4,500 to 5 tags. They're going to go 6 furlongs in race number 9.
Okay, well, there's a kind of a infamous, famous or infamous horse, whichever way you will look at it, is in this race, and that's Bullet Catcher. Do you remember this gelding? He's the horse that got loose in training hours in the morning and took a little stroll down Route 1.
They followed him and took the viral video out of the pickup truck.
That's right, right. Abel Castellano Jr. was hanging out of the pickup truck with a video of a horse running loose during rush hour. And he's always been a real consistent horse over this track, except for maybe the one time that he tried to run on the highway. But he's coming back for trainer John Robb here, off a little time away from the races, and on back class alone, I think he's kind of got it. He's kind of got it all over this field, and he's not eligible for the claiming tag in here on the waiver, I believe it is. So, he's kind of getting a free pass here to run him against a bunch of $5,000 claimers. I mean, he was 4th in a real strong race won by Jerry and Elvis 2 back, and he's just been super consistent. And there's a lot of, they're one of the potential overplayed horses. Bull Hole is a early scratch, but Stone Cold Steamer, who is a speed horse, was a horse that kind of disappointed last time out as a favorite, January the 8th, but previously was scratched in the post parade by the veterinarian. So I think the pace will be sufficient up front when maybe Stone Cold Steamer, August Osage, and here comes Bullet Catcher. I think he's going to be in a prime spot today for trainer John Robb. And let's hope he just stays on the dirt track and doesn't decide to take a afternoon rush hour stroll, leave the premises.
And I like that, the waiver angle, and also a nice bullet work coming in. All right, Dave, let's take a look out at the weekend stakes. Only got a couple minutes left, but we can take a quick look at what, again, is a really nice card on Saturday. Kick things off with the Wide Country, $100,000 for 3-year-old fillies. And I just, do you see, and you never know what's going to happen in the second start. Was that first start a fluke or not? But boy, the Todd Beatty horse, Taurus, was so impressive in that career debut over at Aqueduct. I think if this horse comes back anywhere close to that effort, could lay over this field.
I mean, you hardly ever see Todd Beatty, a Penn National trainer, shipped to New York to get the money. The money showed early on this filly, and she was well met and won like a good thing by almost a dozen lengths. Visually impressive. Obviously they all can lose in one way or another, but she looks to have it over this field. I mean, I was talking to Keith Fustel last night at Morning Line Maker, and he was debating whether to make her 4-5 or 3-5. I'm not sure exactly what he wound up on. I think 4-5. There have been 2 winners out of that race already. Hey Kiddo, the runner-up. Ray, the horse that was off the board almost last, I believe, maybe second last, came back to win a mile race at Aqueduct at 8-1, going long in her next start. So the race has been productive, kind of rubber stamping it as really not a fluke. I'm going to go with a little horse underneath in the exacta, though. Charlie Renee. This is the second time for trainer Ron Bandy, who used to be based down here a few winters ago. He comes out of Parks now with this filly. The second time in his barn, upset score last time out over an odds-on favorite, Disco Chick. I think he's got her going in the right direction here. So maybe just use that long shot, Charlie Rainey, underneath Taurus.
Sounds good. Let's move on to the Miracle Wood. Nice little 3-year-old event. While we talk about this, Dave, we'll go back to the Maryland Juvenile Championship on December 28th. And my boy, Joint Custody's going to get it done. I like this horse, so I'm excited for Saturday. Number 4, Joint Custody, will get it done. 30 cents to the dollar favorite, again, back on December 28th. I thought coming out of this, they were going to bypass this race and wait for the next one up. But entries came out. Joint Custody is in the Miracle Wood, but also some of the other nice Maryland-based 2-year-olds from last year who were kind of knocking heads. Jesse the Marine, Germaniac also in here. What are your thoughts on the Miracle Wood?
Well, I think, you've always loved this horse, and I still think he's got something to prove. And one of us is right or one of us is wrong. I'll tell you, Keith, our morning line maker, was talking to him last night. He said the same thing you did. He likes the way he's been running, and the dam says 1 mile, paying off, who I believe ran around here for John Robb and the Waysons as well. So, maybe they haven't reached the bottom here. That's a Joint Custody. He's not really leveled out to his best race. He's gotten away with really kind of sneaky, slow paces in his last 2. There was a key runner out of the Juvenile Championship, I can't recall who it was, who was his main speed rival that scratched out of that race, leaving him pretty much with Lone Lick of Life one more time. The one thing about him, though, is he's got a good turn early foot, but he doesn't go crazy up front. And he can settle with speed. He's got a good early cruising gear to him. But he's down inside there going a mile, and seems to be some speed perhaps to the outside. We'll see what happens with Joint Custody.
Yeah.
Extra Sexy Hipster is the horse that ran the same day, I believe, as Taurus did, if I'm not mistaken, on December 21. It was same day at Aqueduct. 45 4.5 for Extra Sexy Hipster was equal to the middle split there, the half-mile fraction in the Graysden Stake. Horse that the older horses, Strapping Groom won that, and Palace was second. So this horse is pretty quick early. He didn't finish off as fast as the seasoned older veterans, but he's got to prove that race wasn't a fluke either. He came up with a huge number in the Don Rickles Stakes, same day as Taurus did. Same day Taurus broke her maiden.
Yeah, I think that Miracle Wood is shaping up to be a lot of fun. Right after that, coming up a little later on the card, the Native Dancer, $100,000 purse for 4-year-olds and up, going a mile and a 16th. And Dave, I have some video here going back to the Traskwood, December 27th at Aqueduct. We're going to watch Mail get it done. And Mail for Chad Brown is just one of those horses that they kind of moved along, and improving, and moved into the stakes race last time at Aqueduct, and is going to win here pretty convincingly. I think Mail is one of these horses that's on the come and looks like a real contender Saturday in the Native Dancer.
Well, he's a $470,000 purchase, Medaglia d'Oro told. And they did start him at 2, but the good thing is, he finished 7th in the debut for trainer Al Stahl, but they didn't rush him right back and just, and say, we paid a lot of money for this horse, give us something. They took their time with him. And, they've given him plenty of time. He's only raced, 5 times last year, so he'll be making his 4-year-old debut here in the Native Dancer. It looks like if he can settle as well as he did in New York, he's the horse to beat. There's no doubt about it. But there's some interesting angles in this race. You've got Bull Curlin, who's in super form right now for trainer Mike Trombetta. You've got Indian Jones. He ran in the Breeders' Cup Marathon. He's kind of a plotter type horse who's never won at Laurel, but he's finished second a couple of times. And with the speed of Warrior of the Roses in here, and perhaps Javert coming off the prep sprint, it could set up for a horse like Indian Jones to get a piece here in the Native Dancer. I like Mail, Indian Jones, and Rolling Yana, kind of a sneaky park shipper here for Kathy DeMasi to round out the Exacto try.
Sounds good. And Dave, we got to wrap it also on the card Saturday is the What a Summer $100,000 purse for 4-year-old fillies and mares. Looks like another nice little stakes race. As I say, got a wrap though. And I'll save for next week. I want to get your thoughts. I think the folks at Maryland there were a couple of, on the human side, notables over the weekend. Victor Carrasco gets the Eclipse. King Leatherbury moves to number 4 on the all-time list. But I'll get the thoughts of the folks from Maryland on those with you next week. Dave, as always, appreciate the visit this morning. Good luck this afternoon and on the weekend. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Okay, everybody stay warm and pick some winners.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot. Dave Rodman from Laurel Park. When we come back, Nancy Yuri Holthus from Oaklawn. Stay tuned.
I'm Brian Nadeau, inviting you to join me Friday, January 24th at the Clubhouse Racebook. I'll be handicapping the day's races live and managing a $500 bankroll for 25 lucky patrons. We'll see you then. Let's win together.
I'm Jeff Carl. Join me Saturdays and Sundays at 9 for the Handicappers Report. We'll handicap the top tracks across the country and help you prepare for the weekend in racing. That's the Handicappers Report, weekends at 9, only here on the OTB TV network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Using CapitalOTBBet.com is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Simply log on with your username and password from the homepage. 2. Fund your Capital OTB account through our Easy Money, Green Dot, or Visa MasterCard options. And 3. Place your bet on one of our 3 easy-to-navigate wagering platforms, Capital Bet TV, Capital Bet Express, or Capital Bet Pro. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. We are very happy to be joined now by Nancy Yuri Holthus from Oaklawn Park, the brand new paddock announcer down there. Certainly I've been enjoying Nancy on the signal for the past couple of weeks. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning. How are you this morning, Seth?
Very good. It's cold up here, though. It looks like a little bit nicer down at Oaklawn over the past couple of weeks, and certainly that's always fun. I love the Oaklawn meet. I think there's a lot of value, and I'll jump right in and get your opinion. I've said this since about day 2, day 3 of the meet. Do not ignore the Remington shippers.
Absolutely not. These horses are coming in fresh, and they are coming in ready and loaded for bear.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been winning at some good. They're coming in beating their odds, and they're good odds on top for the win place. But also they're finishing up some exactas and offering some value too. I've said that right as I say from about day 2, day 3 at the meet. And just quickly before we get to the racing, you're brand new down there in the paddock. How do you like the gig so far?
I absolutely love it. You know, this is the track that I kind of started out at, you know, walking hots at the age of 18. So, you know, this is home for me. So it's kind of like it's a welcoming.
Nice, nice. All right, let's get some of your thoughts for this afternoon. Before we do that, we spoke a little bit about the weather, but what's your weather down there look like today?
Well, it's supposed to get colder as the day progresses, and the rumor is they will be working the track all night long in anticipation of the temperatures dropping so that we can, fingers crossed, race tomorrow.
Okay, very good. We'll keep our eyes on that. You've got one for us today before we look out at the weekend stakes as well. Today's race number 2, it is for Arkansas-bred fillies and allowance non-winners of 2 other than. They're going to go 6 furlongs. Your thoughts on race number 2?
Well, I picked this race in particularly because there is a standout mare in here that raced at Saratoga over the summer, and that is Jan's Perfect Star. And she is, I'm guessing, I'm going out on a limb here, but is probably one of the only Arkansas breds to have won at Saratoga. And she won in gate-to-wire fashion with Joe Rocco Jr. on her, and that was in an allowance, and she is such a standout mare and such a sweetheart. I actually was with the Randy Morris barn when he shipped up, and is just a phenomenal race mare. She just oozes class, and she's morning line 4 to 5, and will probably go off less than that further to post time, but she is absolutely, she's probably going to put on a clinic, when she goes out today, but that's why you're seeing such long shot odds on everybody else. But this is the race that I think that you can play your exotics and all of your other type of, your pick threes and your superfectas and your trifectas, because this is where you're going to get some good value everywhere else.
Yeah, and I love those 50-cent pick threes down there, and this is looks like kind of a free square, no doubt about it, because this is a horse moving into an Arkansas bred race after a couple of open company stakes races at Saratoga and Churchill Downs. So certainly some class relief, and going in for a $57,000 purse. So they picked a nice little spot there, certainly.
Right.
All right, let's go back to Monday. You guys kicked off your 3-year-old trail with the Smarty Jones on the holiday card. I wanted to get your thoughts. We got the stretch run coming up here on video while we talk. It is going to be Tanzanite Cat for the red-hot Cody Autry and Norberto Arroyo. I also found interesting, though, running second was Walt from the aforementioned Remington Park, but maybe more interestingly, from that Springboard Mile, which last year produced Will Take Charge. So that race, again, gets a little bit validated this year. But we're watching them come down the stretch here. Nice ding-dong battle, but eventually towards the wire, Tanzanite Cat will pull away. The favorite Coastline finishes third. What was your takeaway from the Smarty Jones?
Well, Tanzanite Cat had only sprinted in his 2 prior starts, and he did stretch out for the first time going the 2 turns on this past Monday, and they were kind of, they were happy with this performance. And initially, Cody Autry, when I had asked him about, the potential of going into the Southwest, he kind of balked and said, well, we are going to definitely point Paganal, who on the opening Saturday card was a very impressive maiden special weight winner for the same connections, and said, well, definitely Paganal towards the Southwest, but looking back a couple days after after the Smarty Jones, said, well, definitely, we're going to point both Paganal and Tanzanite Cat towards the Southwest. So now that's going to be an entry, towards that. And that's going to be our next Monday card on February 17th. And in addition to the Smarty Jones, that is set 10 points for the winner of the Smarty Jones towards eligibility towards the Kentucky Derby. So as you just pointed out, that Will Take Charge, last year's winner of the Smarty Jones. So some serious clout in our 3-year-old stakes runners.
And I think that will continue. Coming up next, as you say, the Southwest, then the Rebel, then finally the Arkansas Derby. And I think Fairgrounds has a salty 3-year-old series this year, and I think because of that, some horses are going to be picking spots. So I think you'll pick up Tapiture, for instance, headed to Arkansas, it sounds like, as they try to split up down there. So I think both Fairgrounds and Oaklawn, I think those 3-year-old series will be a lot of fun. Let's look out at the weekend before we wrap up. Only got about a minute left, Nancy, but the American Beauty on Saturday, 6 furlongs, 4 fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up. And I pulled up some video here of the stretch run of the January 12th race. Quick turnaround for Apropos, but Apropos for Al Stahl, now 2 for 2 over the Oaklawn Strip. A nice 98 buyer in this January 12th race, but you go back to last year, a 101. So as I say, Apropos, maybe a little horse for a course angle that Al Stahl wants to capitalize. Quick turnaround coming into the American Beauty on Saturday. What were your thoughts?
Well, she is a solid beast, and she actually came in about 8 o'clock the night before this race, so there is no rest for her because she just flat out doesn't need it. And like you said, a horse for the course because she is pure class. But Apropos looks like the one to beat in this event. And if you look, American Sugar, also from the barn of Lynn Kleberad, is a nice little horse going in here, has a lot of stakes quality as she was running in Stakes Company last year. And Lynn Kleberad, I might want to point out, only 4 wins away from 1,000 training victories. So also Chortle from the barn of Brian Williamson just ran second to Apropos last time by 1 3/4 of a length. So it's a pretty solid field for the American Beauty on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've had some really nice stakes races there already. Besides Tanzanite Cat, I thought Don't Tell Sophia. She's a lot of fun this past weekend in the Pippin. And I was really impressed by Drogue about a week and a half ago.
Absolutely.
Over the stable make. The house horse gets it done. I saw your post-race interview. The trainer got a little choked up.
You did.
I don't blame him. That was a nice win, and a horse had a little breakthrough performance. And Nancy, just we have about 30 seconds left, but I'm just curious if you got a chance to see Will Take Charge on the track the other morning.
You know what, I didn't. In the mornings I'm down here, calling all my trainers for my afternoon tidbits that I like to give out in the paddock. But I peruse Twitter, and get all my updates and everything from Robert Yates, Mary Rambolini, and Jenny Reese, and all that good stuff. But I try to make it up to the training stand, a couple of times throughout the mornings that I was, I think 5 minutes late, to watch him on the track. So I have to rely on everybody else's recaps, which is always very colorful, shall we say.
But it's just fun to have him back, and he's, of course, based over there looking for the Don, but also strong mandate coming back for a Wayne Lucas as well as a 3-year-old this year. So you've got some nice Wayne Lucas horse. He's always fun, too, just a guy who's a real ambassador for the game now. Nancy, absolutely appreciate having you and Frank Miramati in the mix with us now for the rest of the Oaklawn meet on Thursdays. Happy you jumped on board for the inaugural visit this morning. Good luck this afternoon and over the weekend down there at Oaklawn, and we'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Oh, thank you, Seth. It's been my pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Nancy Uri Holthus from Oaklawn Park. Prior to that, Dave Rodman from Laurel, and we kick things off with John DeSilva from RacingWithBruno.com. That's a wrap on Racing Across America for this Thursday. One more day for the week, and tomorrow we have, of course, Ron Nicoletti on from Gulfstream, the great 3-year-old stakes race for them coming up on the weekend. We'll also do some recapping of fairgrounds and looking ahead with Brian Spencer tomorrow. Plenty of action on Racing Across America on Fridays. We'll see you again tomorrow. Again, as always, cash some tickets this afternoon. Have some fun watching and enjoying betting on the races. We'll see you again tomorrow.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.